I've always been a little bit different, a little bit unique compared to my family. I was always artistic, and right from the get-go, it was obvious that I had a talent that wasn't learned. It was just given to me as a gift. I can't buy you a drink, man, but I'll get your picture. You like National Geographic, man? And in the worst of all my sin and my addiction, I lost the gift. I look at my 20s as sort of a lost decade. I was searching after a lot of stuff that I wanted to do in my life. A lot of the ambitions that I had in art started to come to focus, but I realized that they weren't really satisfying me. And sometime in the middle of college was when I really started falling away from what I knew God wanted for my life. And I started experimenting with drugs. I started smoking a lot of pot in college. I started using OxyContin. Eventually you just say, well, I'm this far down the path. How hard is it to make the jump to something that's significantly cheaper and actually easier to get? I remember making a conscious decision to start using heroin. And I woke up every morning and the highlight and the potential for every day was just in 30 seconds of scoring and using. There was no future, there was no past, it was just that. My entire life became about heroin. One of the ways that I was keeping my habit going was through stealing. I was working in sales. One day I just got the idea that I was gonna steal some stuff from the company and sell it. I was leaving the office and I thought pretty much everyone had left, and I just didn't notice that a receptionist was sitting at the desk. There I am with like boxes in my hand, and I could just tell that I was caught. So right after that I called my parents and I remember confessing all of it. My dad found a rehab center that I could go into that day. By late afternoon I was there, I was checked in, it was done. My heart was ready to actually make a change. And so I just started reading this little devotional that my mom had given me. I started reading the Bible. By the end of the 30 days, I was telling people about Jesus. And I really started to come alive in it. A couple of days after I left that program, I had been praying, Lord, what do you want me to do with my life? What do you want me to do next? My friend Tony handed me this copy of Charisma magazine, and I came to this ad about the world race, and there was this quote about how the Lord wants nothing more than to see his children fulfill the Great Commission, and that just struck a nerve in me. I was like, that's true. It's the most true thing I've heard in a while. So January 2012, I left on the world race. I decided to get a camera, and it was this crappy little Canon Rebel. I don't think I knew how much I was gonna like photography, to be completely honest with you. I was just doing it as a creative outlet. I started to learn how to express myself creatively again. It became really thrilling to be able to freeze time and capture one moment, 1/100th of a second in time, like in perfection. Something that could never happen again, never be duplicated. So race ended, and I needed to find things to photograph. I needed to find people to meet. I needed to have these experiences like I had in the world race. A few weeks later, I got a job at Adventures, but my heartbeat was always outside the office in some way. And one day, I was out taking photos at dusk one night. I saw this really cool 18-wheeler, and I started taking pictures of it, and I walked around the back, and it was open, and there was this homeless guy asleep in the back of that 18-wheeler. And so I went over and woke him up and asked if he was all right. And he had been drinking. He mumbled some words and said, yeah, he was all right. And I started talking to him about God. I started telling him a little bit about my story. He just kept repeating, I think God sent you here. I think God sent you here. And that was the beginning of what's been 2.5 years now of working with people on the streets and homeless people and addicts in Gainesville. One of the things that God has taught me is that I don't deserve something this good, you know? I don't deserve another opportunity to live another day. The Word is alive and it is life-changing. Sometimes it's easy to take that for granted, but I have a story and I have a testimony and I have something that God's done in my life, and I need to just shout it from the rooftops, and I need to share it with everyone. I need to tell people about it. And I think in my weakness, God has given me gifting and strength that I would have never developed otherwise.
Every dime I make, dog.
Boom!
That's why I got Tommy Hilfiger stuff.
Can you do me a favor?
What's that,
I
dog?
want you to yell Jesus.
Get low!
Yell it one more time.
Get low!